good afternoon. My name is Graham. I am an admin at the Vintage Guitar Players group over on Facebook, so you can find us at facebook.com/groups/the Vintage Place. And today I'm here for the next Vintage Legend interview with Gordon Giltrap. So, a man with an impressive career at MBE as well. It's a pleasure to have you here, Gordon, so thank you for coming along. Thank you. To get the things rolling, if you don't mind, would you be able to, in your own words, describe your own music?
Describe my music?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's always been predominantly acoustically driven instrumental music, mainly acoustic guitar. But over the years I've dabbled in playing the electric, I've never really taken my electric playing that seriously compared with the great players. I suppose it's because I come from an acoustic background, and my music's been steeped in that really. The influences really range from Celtic music to classical music to rock really. And if I actually tell you my influences from the word go since I was a kid until now, it started off with Hank B. Marvin with the Shadows. Then of course the Beatles came along and that sort of changed everything.
Yeah.
And then Pete Townsend was a huge influence on my playing. And then I discovered these what I call esoteric artists like Bert Jansch and John Renbourn, who at that time weren't mainstream.
Yeah.
That was based around the London folk scene. And they had a very profound influence on my playing. Latterly, I suppose, if there is going to be anybody that would inspire me, would be probably Julian Breen.
Okay.
But no one particular guitar player, not consciously anyway. But you take it all in really. You listen to the people that you love. I mean, I'm a huge admirer of Mark Knopfler. I love his playing. I love his melodic approach to everything. And the thing that I admire about people is their creativity, not necessarily their playing. It's what they do with it, what they do with their technique, what they do with their gifts, how they apply it, and how they can communicate soulfully what they're doing to the listener.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and that's the thing. There's no doubt some guitar players, and you can include yourself, who are incredibly skillful, and sometimes you listen to that stuff, you're just absolutely in awe, but sometimes you just hear this little really simple little hook, and for some reason it just sticks, as well. It's amazing to have the best of both worlds. So.
But everybody's different. Everybody's got their own strengths, and I've got past the point of wanting to play like other people or having the skill of other people, because it's pointless. I can only be what I am.
Yeah.
And at the age I am now, nearly 74, I'm still, he says, touching wood, still grateful I can still play. The hands still work pretty reasonably well. Obviously not as well as they did 20, 30 years ago, but that applies to anybody, with the onset of time. So all I'm trying to do really, Graham, is maintain a standard that I set for myself quite a while ago. And all the while I can still enjoy it and still create. But that's the most important thing to me, it's creative.
Yeah, I think that's fair. One thing I would ask, this is something I was thinking about actually this morning. You have, I think about 26 albums.
Do you know what? I haven't counted.
I think I counted about 26.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Yeah.
It might even more with compilations and stuff like that. It's only occasionally I'll sit down and think, how many albums have I done? It's quite a few.
Yeah.
It's quite a few studio albums.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know sometimes I think I would struggle to come up with 26 songs and 26 albums worth of stuff, but do you know, one question I would be always very curious about, how do you keep things fresh? I
don't know. I'm very fortunate. I just love it. I don't dwell on past. I would say past glories, but that means that I am a huge megastar guitar player with a massive following, which I'm not. I'm more of a specialist artist, and I suppose I've got a small loyal following, you know. But I'm not an arena filling artist by any stretch of the imagination.
No, like I said, I think that's a good thing to kind of think about. You know, not doing things and moving forward. It's
Yeah. I'm just very fortunate. Nature's just given me this gift to make music, and I feel very fortunate. And I took my leaf out of. I had a chat with Pete Townsend over the last couple of years. We've become good pals and a kind of mutual admiration thing. I think the problem is when you mention people like Pete Townsend, they think, oh, he's name dropping, you know. But it's not that at all. I hate name droppers. But if you actually do know these people and you've worked with them, and a relationship has built up under the banner of friendship, you can't help but talk about them and talk about how they've affected your life. But Pete's a great believer in that you've got to keep writing for its own sake, not for any other sake of I better start practicing because I've got to do another album. I stepped outside of that treadmill quite a few years ago because I thought this is pointless. You know, nobody's buying CDs anymore, but it doesn't stop me writing. And of course, you can put stuff online now. But there's always going to be people who I think who are going to want to hear what I'm doing.
Yeah,
but the important thing is to try to be different, and I know that up until about 2013, 2014, I needed to do something different. So I hooked up with the fabulous Oliver Wakeman, the son of Rick Wakeman, and we did an album called Ravens and Lullabies, and that was a real departure for me because it was a full-on prog rock album, although I'm considered to be prog. And I say to people, I didn't know I was prog until Rick Wakeman told me I was prog. I thought, okay, look, I think we have to put label. I'm very happy to be prog. I hasten to add, Graham. It's lovely to be in that kind of arena, because I think people say, well, what is prog? What is prog all about? Really, progressive rock, whatever. I think it's basically the emphasis is on musicianship and melody. And trying to get across from the heart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
An honest approach to music for its own sake, you know. Yeah. And that's always been the way. That's the way I've always been, really. Although in the early days I was, and I still am classed as being a folk musician. Of course, I'm not. I never was. If you listen to like my first and second album, I mean, you've got tracks like Lucifer's Cage on it, which is out and out rock, really, inspired by Townsend. Yeah. So I was never a folk musician, but it's always the acoustic thing. It's almost like saying, oh, John Martin's a folk musician. No, John Martin was like me. He started out on the acoustic scene as a singer-songwriter. Cat Stevens, Ralph McTell. Ralph's probably closer to folk than the other people, but just because you play the acoustic guitar and create on that doesn't make you folk.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the word. I know this to be true because the folk music scene has never fully embraced me, and I think the reason being is because they didn't know, they couldn't categorise me. It's very hard. Like you said to me, how you describe your music, that's the closest I can get to it. Yeah. And I talk about my influences, guitar influences, and then my main influence, I suppose, really, as an untrained musician, would be Vaughan Williams. You know, all the great classical composers, and I just love the spirit and the power of the work of Vaughan Williams, and the Englishness of it, the whole English school of playing, which I suppose is very melodic, very pastoral, very romantic. So that's really what I'm all about.
Yeah. And I think as well, very very kind of generally, I think the whole thing with prog is it's almost like taking creativity and skill out for adventure, really. You know, it's seeing where it goes. You know, it's definitely. Well, in relation to the vintage side of things, and how did you discover vintage in the first place?
How did I first discover them?
Yeah.
It was quite easy, really, because I was involved with a music shop, and a friend of mine had in stock a vintage tricone resonator.
Yeah.
Loved the look of, and so I bought it. right? And I recorded with it. It's on one of my albums. It's on a piece called The Ring of Kerry, and I loved it. And I thought, and I've always known that vintage. I've always been aware that the company has produced quality instruments for very, very affordable prices. We don't use the word cheap; they're affordable. And the way it came about eventually was I literally bumped. It's all documented on the JHS website. But I bumped into Dennis Drum many years ago in the West End. I was looking through the window of one of my favourite guitar shops, which is Ivan Morant's, and I went and looked through. There was Dennis waving back at me, and I thought, well, I can't just wave and go. I better go in and say hi. We were chatting away, and I said to Dennis, I said, I've got to tell you, Dennis, I said, I think your product's great, but I've got a Tricone Vintage, and it's a great guitar, record with it, and congratulations to what you're doing. And he said, would you like to be involved? I said, in what way? He said, how do you fancy us building your signature guitar? I said, let me think about it. I think I knew what the answer was going to be straight away, but I thought I'd better think about it, how I would formulate what would be the right instrument to be associated with. And then, of course, I brought the genius guitar maker Rob Armstrong into the equation, and the rest is history. Yeah. Because the guitars, that GG series just happens to have my name on it. But yeah, I didn't design that guitar. All credit goes to the genius of Rob. And the incredible thing about it is that genius, that design has come through in the finished product that was made in a factory in China. And it comes through in the essence of what Rob was doing. That sound is there. It's astonishing, absolutely astonishing. But that's how it came about. Through meeting with old Dennis, because I knew Dennis years ago, because we're both South East London boys, and he used to work in a wonderful guitar shop where I bought all my first guitars from, or almost all of them, called Len Styles in Lewisham, South East London, and Dennis was a salesman there. I think he was mainly specialising in brass instruments, but that's how I first met Dennis. Behind the counter, this young, fresh-faced chap.
Yeah, no, again, I love hearing all these things. It's interesting to kind of hear the background of these things, I think. And guitars wise, obviously, obviously get the kind of signature model. What guitars is it you've got with you today then?
I've got, I tend to forget how many guitars I've got. The only one I haven't got with me, ironically, is my Vintage Deluxe, because only literally 2 days ago, a friend of mine dropped in. He said, would you like me to give your Deluxe a service? I mean, I've had it for 7, 8 years now, because you told me it came out in 2015. I forgot.
Yeah, I believe so.
I've got the very first one that came through. It hasn't got a label in it. I've used that solidly since I got it. There's clips of me on YouTube playing it. I gig with it, and there's no better endorsement for an instrument to actually go onto a stage and play major venues with that guitar.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just does the job brilliantly well in all areas, so that's the only one I haven't got here because my friend Michael Goff took it away, and he's going to stone the frets a bit for me, give it a service. I usually I usually do it myself. I sort out the action, fiddle with it, but it's never going to bear the way an expert would do it, get the exact height, with the right tools to do it. I'm using very basic tools to service my guitars, Yeah. And they work for me, and I like messing with them, and I sort of like for I'm putting a bit of myself into them. But yes, I've got the whole range here in front of me at the moment. Where would you like to start?
Oh, anywhere you like. Nice to see a sneak peek what you got there.
What we ought to do really is start with obviously this one, which is the Jamie Giltrap model, which the company produced in memory of my dear late son Jamie. And the astonishing thing about this was I don't think the company knew, and I didn't until the guitar arrived, that it's basically a deluxe instrument at an incredible affordable price. It's all, as you know, it's all solid mahogany, ebony board, gold plated Grovers. It's got a fabulous tone. I put the Fishman blend pickup on it, you know, but plays great, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Amazing.
Got great action, and I gig with it. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful instrument. And of course, the deluxe is like this, but rosewood back and sides, cedar top.
Yeah.
And this one's got it's got a great sound. I would say the deluxe has got a lot more warmth to it, more richness on the bass end.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's a good one to start with.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Over the years, I mean, I've used. Let me just show you this one. I was going to bring the album cover in. This is my very first Viator that I got from the company. It's the very early one without the pickups, and it's got a Fishman undersaddle in here. And I've used this. I used this on my last album called The Last of England, which I used it on a track called the Anafantasia. So like it's a mini concerto, and I use this instrument on the whole track. Can I just go through and get the album cover and show you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I meant to bring it through actually. What I'm going to show you is the vinyl version, but the CD one has got all the tracks on it. With vinyl, of course, as you know, you're limited with the number of tracks you can put on a vinyl album. Otherwise the quality goes down. That's the album Last of England, and ironically the photograph of me inside, I'm playing vintage instruments. That one, this one here, I'm playing my deluxe, right, that's the deluxe, and here I'm playing the first Fret King GG model with the undersaddle pickup.
Awesome.
There's the proof, so it's on the album cover. So I don't need to state the case any stronger than that. I just think they're amazing instruments, and they do a fantastic job. So that was the Viator. I still use it on stage. Yeah. Great guitar. This is an interesting one. You'll know about this because you're the man who wrote the book. This is the V1700, isn't it? V1700. Yeah. And I picked this up recently from Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, okay.
Princely sum of £350. Those lovely people at JHS did some work on it for me. Okay. And it's one of the best 12 strings I've ever heard. I mean, I just strum a...
Sounds absolutely angelic.
It's amazing. It's like a cathedral. I actually had a chat with Paul Smith about possibly the company reissuing this, you know.
Okay.
Maybe put a cutaway in it. I don't know, but I'd be more than happy for this to be remodelled and have it as another GG signature model.
Well, do you know, that is something I would definitely be asking you. Obviously, with the models you have, what else would you? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that would be my next choice because it's a great guitar, and it certainly compares. I'm not going to mention any names, but it certainly compares with guitars that would have a £3,000 price tag on them and more. Yeah. It's as good as those that I played, you know. Yeah. Which goes to show people actually can get beyond that snob barrier of having a famous name on the headstock and just look at the guitar for what it is and say, is this a good instrument or not? If it is, I'll play it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's the blind test thing. I know that's the thing I find. You know, like I have to give you one example, not naming names other than that I went to try one of the Blue Guitar one amps one time, and I had went along and they said, "What do you normally play?" And I just went into one of these places on a whim to see if they had one, and said that's normally, well, obviously the S6 is what I was kind of playing most at the time, the kind of SG style, and they went and got something very similar by another brand off the shelf, and honestly, this thing was like off the shelf a grand. Played it, and it just didn't feel right. There was just something about it, and it was like, I don't know if it was the set up the action of what it was, but it just didn't feel right. So I was enjoying this, obviously the sound of the amp and such, but just something, that way, there's got to be the kind of feel of things, kind of correspond to the sound sometimes. And I went home and came back in another time with my VS6, and just played it, and it's like, right, I'm having that. Thank you very much. Can I take one, please? But yeah, it's definitely, that's the thing. You could spend so much, and realistically speaking,
it's amazing. I mean, I'm often spoken to Midge Ewers often said this, because Midge has got his signature model, ridiculously about £450, and he uses it all the time. And he said, I still don't know how they do it. Well, okay, we can go down the road of cheap labour and all that malarkey, but that I'm not sure about. All I know is that there's some astonishing instruments coming out of China right now, and they're amazing. Let's moving swiftly on to, again, this is one of my favourite electric guitars.
I like a Stan Electro.
The Dell Electro. I've used it on my I've got a new album coming out. It's an album project. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to preempt it, but it's coming out on April the 2nd. So it's a new Gordon Giltrap Paul Ward album. Okay. And on pretty much on all the tracks, or if there's any electric guitar, it's this. I just love it. I love the lipstick pickups. I love the
lipsticks are
I love it. It's almost like playing an acoustic guitar. I love the neck. It's almost got a flat fingerboard, which I like. Yeah. And I love the look of it. Of course, they've been around a long time. And of course, this did not cost a lot of money. I mean, they're not a lot of money, but I got my artist discount. But it's great. And it's got a lovely, I think is it a Badass bridge or whatever it is? What's the make of the bridge? It's quite a nicely made bridge. Yeah. And you can get the perfect intonation on it. Yeah. So that's that one.
Is that a Fret King behind you as well?
And that's my Fret King, yeah. That's the latest one. It's been out a few years now.
Yeah. It's a lovely colour as well.
Yeah, and that's got the mini humbucker there, and it's got the roll, where you can bring it in and start mixing the two in. Yeah. Quality guitar. I always wanted an electric guitar with an ebony board, but of course, that's what. Of course, they don't do that. I don't think they've stopped making them now, haven't they? This particular model.
I believe that one's off now. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, but I introduced John Etheridge to the company, and of course he had his own signature model, and that was a cracking guitar. Heard him play it. Oh, mind you, it's down to the fact he's a great player. So make anything sound good. But so that was that one.
I like in the back of that as well, the nice touch. It's got obviously the burst in the neck as well.
No, it's a lovely thing. The other one. Again, they don't make this anymore, but this was the Roger Williams crossover. That is an incredible guitar. Yeah. Great pickups here, plugged in, it's great. I've recorded with it. Again, ebony board. All solid rows of back and side, C at the top. A beautiful, beautiful guitar. I originally restrung this, but I don't know. trying to play something fast to impress the viewers of failing.
Do a lot better than I would be.
Great guitar, absolutely wonderful guitar. I love it, and of course it comes with the case as well, the deluxe Kinman case. I sound like I'm a salesman here, but I'm just well, again they've discontinued it, which is a shame. So there's been some lovely instruments come out of JHS, and I think the final one, really, although this is a little known one, and my darling wife Hillary was responsible for this. This is the World War II mandolin.
Yeah.
I don't play mandolin, but they said, well, it's got to have your name on it. I said, well, I don't really play mandolin. I'm just associated with it, but I've never played it. I've never played it. But again, it's a very special instrument, and it's got that lovely message on the back, the engraving about its bass playing. Yeah, and again, you know, I think for a basic instrument, I mean, a good mandolin player could get something wonderful out of this, I'm sure, but it ain't going to be me because I don't play it. But there you go. That really sums up the entire collection. I mean, I've had other instruments that are through my hands as well via the company. And I did have I had a Fret King with the Fishman pickups in a Strat copy, or not a Strat copy, but a Strat style guitar. I had what's the company that makes? It's a vintage company. They make the amps as well. The name escapes me at the moment. It's like an Italia model, but it's not.
It's not a Supra one?
Supro, yeah, I had a Supro. And that was a beautiful guitar, but again, I've got it. I thought I like this. Then I thought I don't think I can find a use for it, so then I just passed it on. But I've had a lot of vintage stuff through my hands, mainly for other people. You know, I sometimes buy them and gift them to friends, or they buy them from me. But basically, the money I paid, sort of thing. You know.
No, it's a lovely collection.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, nice.
One thing I want to ask is,
they're all used, apart from the mandolin, of course.
it certainly looks nice as well. It's a nice touch, obviously, with the whole story behind it, you know. Well, in terms of obviously your music, obviously you said you've been doing some recording, obviously with the release coming up. Have you got any live dates coming up and such as well? Or?
Yeah, I've got a few. If you go onto my website, which is www.giltrap.co.uk, and go on to concerts, it'll give you a list of what I'm doing this year, but not a lot. You know, there's a lot that obviously was wiped away because of COVID. Yeah. But I'm doing a handful of gigs. I'm spending more time teaching, really, this is the thing I like to do, and particularly Zoom. So I like passing on knowledge, really. And if anybody's interested, I can give you the telephone number of the person to contact if they would like to book a Zoom lesson with me. Is that all right to do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's if it's all accessible on the website.
It's all, all the details are on the website. His name is Paul Roberts. So Paul is a very fine guitar teacher, guitar coach, and so he organises all my Zoom things for me.
Awesome.
But what I have been doing up until literally a couple of days ago, I was actually giving free Zoom lessons to people, just half an hour, you know, to let people see what I'm doing, for them to feel comfortable about what I'm doing, because I think a lot of people assume because I've got this reputation, they think, oh, I'm not going to be good enough to have a lesson with Gordon Giltrap. I mean, that's not what it's all about. I mean, I'll give lessons to beginners. It doesn't matter to me. It's all, you know, if you can't actually communicate with a beginner, which is where we all started, it's pretty pointless. So, you know, all comers really. If I can help to point them in the right direction, to inspire them, which is what that's what the point of it all is to inspire people. Then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very powerful thing. And
Yeah.
then, in terms of your music, then where's the best place to find to access your music as well? Is that going to be on Giltrap.co.uk?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, it's all out there. I'm on all these social platforms, Spotify, Amazon, all my stuff is out there. I put all my music, streaming stuff, via two people, but that's not the point. If people want to hear my music, they'll just go on there and find it, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Pretty much all the albums are out there, everything, because the CD doesn't exist anymore. It's all streaming, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's for so much of it. It's wild, but no, as long as we can access, that's the important bit. That's awesome. Well, what I would say, I mean, like today, obviously, thank you very, very much for coming along and giving us all the background and showing us the guitars, and it was very much appreciated.
Pleasure.
Obviously, more encourage folk to go and listen to obviously your music, absolutely fantastic playing. And I would like to say thanks to everyone obviously for joining us here. By all means, folk, please do feel free to click subscribe below as well, and feel free to join us the next time. And listen, thank you for your time today.
Well done you, Graham, for doing that encyclopedia. What a thing.
A labour of love.
Good to talk to you, and say hi to everybody out there in Vintage Land from me.
We shall do. But thank you so much, Gordon.
Bye bye.